All right, English 112, I want to show you a few ways that we cite sources in an in-text citation for APA. With MLA, there's a variety of ways that you can do it. Of course, in APA, there are essentially 4 ways that you can record the information necessary to get you to the references page, the equivalent of the works cited page, so that you know what information is necessary in order to cite the source correctly. There's 3 ingredients that you have to include each time that you do this. No matter what, these 3 ingredients will be present in any in-text citation, and the order is important. But where they show up in the sentence, you have about 4 different possibilities of where they can go. You have to have the author's last name, you have to have the year in parentheses, and then you have to have the page number. And I'll tell you in a few minutes what happens if you don't have a page number, so we'll handle that a little bit separately. But those 3 ingredients have to be in that order each time. There are 4 ways to do it, however. They don't all have to appear in exactly the same way. You can vary the way that you introduce the information as long as those 3 ingredients are present, no matter which of the 4 areas you choose. So let me show those to you up on the board, kind of give you an idea of how they will occur. It doesn't matter really what order, but I'll show you the way the book kind of has them listed as well. The first is if you have the author's name, Smith, then you put the year in, and then went on to say, so such and such, at the end you have a page number. So you have the author's last name, immediately followed by the year in parenthetical, and then you go on to explain. So Smith, 2020, said that, and then you have your quote, end of the quote, page number with the P period in it. I know MLA doesn't use that, but APA does use that form. You have to put the P period or PP period in there if it's more than 1 page. So this is one way that you can do it, but notice the information is listed by last name of the author, the year, and the page number in that order, no matter where they occur in the sentence. The second way would be to say blah, blah. You're writing something along, and then you say according to, so here's my quote, blah, 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 according to Moss. Then, oops, we'll put Moss in there. Then 2020, comma, page 18, period. All right, so here you can introduce the quote at the beginning and then say this is according to Moss. So I've given the last name of the author, then I put my year and page number in the parenthetical together, the year, comma, P period, 18. So the spacing would all be the same. Notice you have to have the space after the comma, of course, but notice the order is the same. Author's last name, the year, and then the page number, all in the parenthetical, the last 2 in the parenthetical at the end. Another way that you can do this is to say one author, and don't mention the author's name in your sentence, just say one author or one writer or one blogger, whatever happens to be. Then in your parenthetical, you put the author's name, comma, and the year, whatever year it is that that was published, together in that parenthetical, and then you go on with the quote or paraphrase, and then at the end, of course, the page number. So here again, we have the author's last name, the year, and the page number all in the correct order, but they follow a slightly different format in the paper. Jones and 2020 in the parenthetical at the beginning, and then the page number at the very end. And of course, there's one other way that you could do this, and that would be to say, quote, here's the end of the quote. You're not introducing the quote. Many of you would do this typically in an MLA style quotation where you just have the information at the end. So I have my quote, and I put all of it together at the very end. I would have the author's last name, followed by a comma, the year it was published, followed by a comma, and then the page number with my period on the outside. So that would be the other way that I could include the information. All of this is listed for you on page 174 of your Little Seagull Handbook on that kind of purple section. On 174, it lists them, but they're not listed like in number 1, 2, 3, and 4. You have to kind of search to look for them. The first one's at the top of the page where it says McCullough 2001. But in each of the cases, the name McCullough, the last name, is highlighted for you so you can kind of see the 4 examples. But I wanted to go through it with you on the board so you get a better idea of how it actually works. Last name, year, and then page number at the end. Now, what do you do if you don't have a page number? APA does require an indication of where the information was found. And if you were looking at an online source, for example, let's say that you looked up something on a website and you're just kind of scrolling through the document and you're finding information, you're not going to have a page number. So what do? In that case, you have to use a paragraph number. If you turn to page 177 in your Little Seagull Handbook, 177, number 11, work without page numbers. It shows you there that you would have to use a paragraph number, and it would be abbreviated like this. You would have the author's last name, the year, and then PARA, and whatever the paragraph number is. So the author's last name, the year that it was published, and then PARA for paragraph, period, and the number 3. So don't stress over that. The only time where this would get a little bit frustrating is if it's a relatively long document that doesn't have page numbers. So you got to kind of work your way through and count what paragraph number is it. Becomes cumbersome if there's a lot of dialogue, and so each of those counts as a paragraph. But most of you, that won't be an issue. It'll just be probably a page or two of documentation, so you might be looking at 5, 6, maybe 8 paragraphs. So it shouldn't be too complicated. A couple of you have asked some questions about some other things relative to the APA format style of, need to pause it, sorry.